Hi, I'm Jake de Boer.
And I'm Mieke de Boer, and welcome to this special edition of the Travel Magazine.
Join us today as we tour Western Europe, visiting some of Holland, Germany and Switzerland's charming towns and villages.
Remember The Hague?
And how?
And from there you can go to Keukenhof. And wasn't that beautiful? The garden with all the beautiful flowers and all kinds of colors and shapes.
Incredible.
And then Delft. Delft with its Delft's Blue Factory. And that is where my father learned his craftsmanship.
And that is many years ago, Mieke.
And it's still a beautiful place to visit.
Delft is also very famous for something else, and that is the Delftware, which you can find at the factory of the porcelain in Fles. It's the only factory that dates back to the 17th century where they still make the genuine Delftware.
One of the most important things is for somebody who is not very familiar with Delftware to look at the so-called trademark. Our trademark does not contain the word hand-painted or handmade or handwork or whatsoever. If you see hand-painted or handwork on an article, be careful, because in 90% of the cases it's not hand-painted at all. So our trademark is a little bottle, which is a fles in Dutch, with the initials of the man who founded it. That is J.T., Joost Tooft, one of my predecessors, and the word Delft, and that's all.
A leisurely canal ride north from Delft takes you to the Netherlands' capital city, The Hague.
The city of The Hague was founded in 1247 by William II, Count William II, and he was the one who actually built a hunting lodge in the forest, which was surrounded by a hedge, and that's how the city got its name. Now his son finally built a not next to the hunting lodge, a big reception hall, which was the Hall of Knights, and that's the building that's still standing in the center of The Hague, and it's the center of the parliamentary buildings, our first and our second chamber. And the whole complex is called the Binnenhof, and right next to the Binnenhof we also have a beautiful museum that's called the Mauritshuis, with 17th century masters such as Rembrandt and Jan Steen and Vermeer. The city of Delft already got city rights in 1246, and they were given to them by William II, the count who was residing in the city of The Hague. And Delft is a city with beautiful canals. The old center is still standing. In fact, there are 609 protected monuments, meaning houses and churches. And if you go down to the central market square, you will see the beautiful 17th century town hall. And there's two churches dominating the city. We have the old church, dating back to the 13th century. And we have quite a few famous people who have been buried over there. For instance, the painter Vermeer, who was from Delft. Also the inventor of the microscope, Antony van Leeuwenhoek. Piet Hein and Maarten Tromp, two of our famous admirals. And the new church, which actually dates back to about the 1400s. And that's where all the members of our royal family are being buried. And that goes back all the way to William of Orange, or William the Silent, who lived in Delft and who was actually shot in Delft as well.
Mieke, but then there is Utrecht, or Utrecht if you like. And you know why I liked it? It's because it's a small Amsterdam with all its canals, but the cathedral has a magnificent organ, and then there's the clock museum. How did you like that?
I loved it.
there are many, many churches in Utrecht. The largest one being, of course, the cathedral called the Dom Church. It's from the 14th century and it's the highest church that we have in the Netherlands.
A must in Utrecht is the National Museum.
Here we are in a medieval church. It's quite funny that exactly here is situated the National Museum, from musical clock to street organ, or in Dutch, van speelklok tot pierement. The museum was built in 1956 and then there was of course a very small collection. Only a few pieces, a few organs and a few disc musical boxes, for example. And right now we have a collection of about 900 pieces, of which 600 are in constant playing condition. The violin player, made in Germany in 1910, is one of the most famous instruments of this museum. It was for the first time presented to a large public in 1910 during the World Exhibition in Brussels. You will see 3 violins playing together with a piano, without a violin player and without a piano player.
Lucerne, Switzerland has to be one of the most popular destinations in the world because of its medieval part, the chapel bridge dating back centuries, of course.
And the folklore show where Jake won his medal for bravery.
Shooting the bullseye.
Right.
Just a year ago, about 600,000 readers of Condé Nast Traveler found out that the small city of Lucerne belongs to one of the most popular cities in the whole world. We can name Lucerne together with Rome, Paris or San Francisco. And the small city in Switzerland with only 60,000 population is very proud of that. A big part of our city is really very well kept, and most of the houses dates back to the Middle Age and give a really medieval atmosphere to all the visitors.
Among the most historic landmarks in Lucerne is the Chapel Bridge. Known the world over, it is the very symbol of Lucerne. Lucerne was also home to the late composer Richard Wagner. His house now stands as a museum, and as Mark Twain described it, the saddest piece of rock in the world.
During French Revolution, we had quite a bit of soldiers who were under the French kings, and they all died. And that's why we put here in memory of these Swiss soldiers who died for a French king, the dying lion of Lucerne. The medieval city. It's really one of the most attractive shopping paradises all over our country. Shopping is a very important part to the Lucerne tourism, and I think no tourist leaves our city without having bought something. For everybody is something to be found in the old, small, little shops around on both sides of our river. Especially for our tourists, we run 3 different night shows, Swiss folklore shows, And most of the tourists really don't miss and don't leave Lucerne without having seen one of our shows. We perform Swiss yodeling, flag throwing, alphorn blowing, and of course together with Swiss specialities, cheese fondue, raclette, rösti, or sliced veal and a glass of wonderful Swiss white wine. That gives the real atmosphere and belongs to a stay in our city.
Switzerland, and I think of Lausanne.
A beautiful city, the old town with its market, Ouchy, the waterfront, and of course that well-known restaurant,
Freddy.
Girardet.
Lausanne is first of all a Swiss city. If it has a little bit of a French touch about it, it's just because we are really surrounded by France. So we have maybe a lot to do with France. We hear the French radio. We travel to France a lot. We are Swiss, but maybe we are a little bit more French-oriented because of our language. Town of Lausanne, we have especially the cathedral, which is cathedral of the 13th century. We have the old part of town, which is just behind the cathedral. We have the market steps, which lead from the cathedral down the hill towards the town hall. They were built for the people who were living on the hill behind the cathedral to go down to the market, because the artisans and the shopkeepers and so on had settled at the time at the foot of the hill along the river. The market in Lausanne is on twice a week, on Wednesday mornings and Saturday mornings. And we have it every week of the year. And it's more interesting maybe on Saturday mornings because there are more people. It's very lively because we have also street musicians. They come and play. They can also be little bands sometimes. And that makes it colorful and maybe sometimes a little noisy, but that's life.
A few minutes outside Lausanne, in the town of Crichier, is the home of one of the most famous chefs in the world.
Freddy Girardet, he was named the chef of the century. I think it's something. He has a feeling for cooking and for wines, and which is unique, and we're very proud to have him, and very proud to think that he is Vaudois.
And then Germany, Lake Constance.
The town of Lindau, the German Riviera.
The artists, the music. Oh, Jake, I loved it there.
Lindau wakes up like any other small Bavarian town. From its beautiful architecture to its quaint cobblestone streets, it is a vivid reminder of its rich German past.
It's very, very interesting. It's also very unique because you're in a very traditional town, very old. People here are very proud, and you feel like you have a history living here because it is such an old town. There's so much history here, it's really hard to describe. You have to see it and live it, otherwise you can't really understand. There's almost everything you can imagine that is fun to do in the city of Lindau.
A wide variety of local entertainers add to the flavor of the boardwalk. From sidewalk artists, theater and street musicians, Lindau can satisfy even the most discriminating of tastes.
Meersburg means the castle on the lake. Meersburg is a city with all the charm, with the old buildings, small tucked away restaurants, you'll have to look for them and find them, with the old castle, one of the oldest castles in Germany.
From the old castle to the Grand Palace, Meersburg is an adventurous delight.
As you walk through, you'll see that Meersburg was built, and those buildings that you see 400 or 500 years ago, some are even a bit older, and it was mainly these half-timbered houses. Some of them are plastered over. Since then, they've taken it off, the plaster, and as you can see the beauty of these places today. And a lot of the restaurants, as you can see, the Löwen, the Bären, Winzerstube zum Becher. People will come there, enjoy a good glass of Meersburg wine, the vineyards all around, enjoy good food of this area of southern Germany. Again, people want to relax, enjoy life.
Tell me about the Moselle.
It's a beautiful region in Germany. Vineyards that go right down to the river. There's the city of Trier, there's Traben-Trarbach, and there's the town of Cochem. It's just very unique and beautiful.
It's so quiet here, you don't hear any cars, and it's just especially this air. Even you feel the wine in the air. That's the special thing at the Mosel area. It is typical. You just have to look around here. Everywhere there's wine. It's a nice village, small village. There's only living around 600 inhabitants here, and each of them has something to do with wine. Not everybody's a wine grower, but maybe they work in office, and just after they work in the office, they come back and they work in the vineyards.
The Mosel runs deep in history and tradition. You can visit a small family-run winery where the art of winemaking has been passed down from generation to generation.
My name is Peter Stork.
I hear you have some good wines.
Yeah, you're invited to taste them. Welcome.
Thank you.
And
Super.
It was nice and refrigerated, so let's look for that. But I think the taste or the bouquet will come out with the bubbles.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Get a bouquet too. It's good for Sunday morning.
That's excellent. It's easy to see why the Romans spent so much time in this area. From the vineyards to the Porta Negra, the city of Trier is built around this and other ancient Roman ruins.
Trier, first, it's really the oldest cities of Germany. When you're in Trier, you will notice directly everywhere you go, it's the Romans' life still. It's very nice because Trier is just one culture. And wherever you go, 1,000 steps, 1,000 years of culture.
Well, that's it for this edition of the Travel Magazine. I hope you've enjoyed our tour of Western Europe as much as we have. For the Travel Magazine, I'm Jake de Boer.
And I'm Mieke de Boer, and bye for now.